All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Karen Wood, and I'm with Riverside County Gun Owners. And here with me today is Emily Valentine. She is the lifestyle blogger behind Style Me Tactical. Welcome, Emily, and thank you for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me.
I've been following your journey ever since I started concealed carrying several years ago. And I found you through Instagram, and I was a big sigh of relief because somebody out there existed that, I looked at your content and immediately knew that I was somebody in your demographic within your space or community, so to speak. Um, and, for me, the challenge has been combining my love of fashion. I actually used to own a
Right.
clothing, but also figuring out how I can incorporate, self-protection into, again, my love of fashion. So all of that to say, I wanted to, ask you, tell us about your journey. Why did you start this lifestyle blog? What need were you trying to fill in this world of the gun culture?
Sure. So, it's kind of like what you had said, like connecting with and finding somebody that you could relate to. And that's sort of like how all of that stemmed. I mean, the real story behind how I even got into firearms was because my husband came home one day and said he wanted to get a gun for home defense. And I was all for that. I had no issues with that. My only thing was, well, if we were going to have a gun in the home in order to defend ourselves, I should know how to use it to defend ourselves. So that kind of sparked that journey of trying to find information, looking for resources online that could help me along my own personal journey, trying to navigate this world that was very new to me and also new to my husband. So we had gone to the range for the first time, and we both didn't really have prior experiences with firearms. Like, he had shot with a friend. I had gone when I was younger with my dad to like shotgun ranges, but I didn't shoot anything. So we go to the range, and it was just, for me, it was a very bad experience. I didn't like anything about it. I shot probably 5 rounds and was like, okay, I'm done. This isn't for me. And so I got home, and that really just stuck with me because I was like, why did that bother me so much? Like, here I thought I was going to walk in a gun range and be badass, like shoot some guns. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And it was like nothing like that.
Oh,
And so I was just like taken aback by that and decided, okay, after a few days, it kept kind of coming up, like
yeah.
just in my head, like as I was going about my day, just like it bothered me. So I was
Yeah.
like, well, maybe there's a reason I can't let that go, let that experience go. So I'm going to lean into this, and I'm going to try to navigate and figure out what it is about this that I don't like. And so I started looking online, trying to get some kind of help and find information. And there's tons of great information online regarding guns, but it was so technical. It was way beyond what I was even ready for. I just wanted some basic, you know, relatable stories from like other women wondering, like, is this normal? Like,
Right.
is this a normal reaction? And so I was like, you know what? Okay. I found some information about, just working with instructors. I'm like, let me start there.
Sure.
Let me go to instructor and work with someone who knows what they're doing and see if I can kind of get past that. And so that was sort of my course of action. Is I was like, I'm going to meet with an instructor. I started going weekly, and I decided, like, at the same time of deciding to go with an instructor, I was like, I think I'm going to write about this.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a blog, and I'm going to just write about it and kind of hope that maybe there's another woman out there that can share in my journey, or that I can kind of help somehow, because I knew that I wasn't able to really find the kind of resources that I was looking for. So that's really what drove the start of Style Me Tactical. And so I started going, and I got way more comfortable. Everything starts, with firearms, with the fundamentals. And
Right.
I didn't have that knowledge that first time.
Yep.
So, once you start going and you start learning the fundamentals and the basics, and you start learning more about the gun you're actually shooting, like, everything starts making sense, and you start understanding how it works. So that was so helpful to me to help to make me continue on to shoot and decide that I was going to buy a firearm. And that then led me down to the path of, okay, so
Now,
for personal safety,
yeah,
I'm going to carry this on my person. How am I supposed to do that? And, again, like everything out there, and this was what, five, 5 years ago about now, you know, the industry with women getting into concealed carry has increased and
huge.
drastically changed in the last 5 years. So if you rewind 5 years ago, like women in concealed carry, at least like on social media and
Yes.
being kind of like vocal about it everyone was still pretty quiet.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, there's no women that conceal carry. Like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do or how I'm supposed to start again. Like, everything out there was all from a man's perspective. And,
Yes.
their solution was, oh, you just throw on like this fisherman style vest and the baggy flannel shirt and you'll be good to go. And I'm like, oh no, that's not,
No.
that's not happening. I'm sorry. I like clothes and fashion too much to throw that away. And I was like, there's gotta be a way. I'm gonna figure it out. And while I figure it out, that's more information I'll add to Stami Tactical. And that's really where it kind of grew from there, and through social media and kind of sharing what I've learned and my tips of concealed carry and not wanting to sacrifice my style. I met so many more women through social media and through the blog. And now, we've got more women in firearms who are carrying, and there's so many women out there that the information that you need right now, I feel like is available. And it's so awesome that anyone that's new can go to social media and find some information and find tips and inspiration to kind of get them jump started on their own journey.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like sort of the longer version, I guess.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I mean, you're so right. I mean, this is a predominantly male space, right? The world of firearms and gun culture.
Mhm.
It's been male dominated. And so trying to find people you can relate to as women on the same journey has been such a challenge. But I love that, again, through social media, we've been able to find our community. And
Mhm.
this is especially important because, at least from the perspective of the gun owners pack, we're seeing a rise. We do a lot of like how to obtain your CCW seminar.
Mhm.
It's a free seminar that we offer women here in Riverside County, California. And it's we're seeing men, women. I mean, it's both sides of the fence here. And so I think it's important to let them know, the women out there, that this exists, that there's support out there, that there's other people who experience the same struggles that you do. I mean, we have lots of options when it comes to the things that we wear. We're not,
Right.
just in jeans and t-shirts. And it's so easy, per se, for men to, to just, again, throw on some jeans and t-shirts. I mean, we have to worry about skirts and shorts and dresses. And, so we have a little bit more, more options to us. And therefore we need to modify and adjust how we carry,
Of
according
course.
to what we're wearing.
And it's different too, especially for women, because our bodies, I mean, men's bodies are different as well, but compared to men, our bodies are shaped so differently than men. And that allows us to be able to dress not only for our body type, but that also means that we have more challenges in trying to conceal carry. And it's an area that, while I know it's male dominated and that's how it's been, up until recently, it's an area that, while many men have tried to talk about, they can't,
Get it.
because
Yeah.
they just don't understand. And even so, I mean, even in the beginning when I first started, I would get comments just from different men on social media talking about that you can't carry like that, like that's not right. And I'm like, well, who are you to tell me it's not right? I'm following all the safety rules. My trigger's covered. I have a belt. I have like all those things, and I'm carrying in positions that I've seen other people carry in. But now, because I've decided to also want to take my style into consideration, it's just that's not going to work.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's why I think, again, it's so important to be able to, put it out there. It's almost like you said, 5 years ago, you don't have as many women, maybe concealed carrying. And so the information wasn't as readily available. And so I think it's really um, important, and, you know, I just want to say thank you that you're putting that content out there, because there's, and from that, people are getting inspired and doing the same, right? So, we can all share and get inspiration from each other in this community.
Exactly.
Yeah. So are
And
you,
there's so many more women that are open now to, once they see it on social media, they're open to then also wanting to join and share as well, which just, makes the community even bigger and makes our bonds of wanting to take our personal safety seriously stronger, because a lot of these women, and I'm sure you know this for the most part, are don't even probably tell people that they carry, and they can do it anonymously through social media and be part of that kind of that community.
exactly. And I love that. And it's making it, more, I don't want to use the word normal, but it needs to be part of the discussion, like, and that this is, as long as you're practicing safety, like you said, that this is not an unusual thing. Like, we don't have to be quiet about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and I think it's so important. Are you, I mean, just in your journey, have you seen a response in the gun industry as far as them accommodating the growing demographic of women, female gun owners and concealed carriers? Are you seeing that, or what are your
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely been influx and more priority put on towards creating women-friendly, whether it's clothing, holsters, things like that, to help kind of accommodate all of our different style options. And everyone in what I can tell from our industry, like, wants in on tapping into the women market. Like, they know that it's the fastest growing in our demographic of firearm owners, so they want to get their piece of that. And there are some great companies out there creating awesome, whether it's carry wear or customized holsters, things like that, to help us be able to carry in whatever we choose, or whatever our style is for that day. Because it's not, I always say, it's not a one size fits all lifestyle. So something that works for you may not work for me. And just because I choose to wear jeans and you want to wear skirts, like, there are things out there for everyone.
Right. 100%. And again, you bring that up, and I love that, because my challenges, for example, and I know other women out there share this too, but I'm petite, I'm 5'1", I'm short waisted, I don't have a lot of real estate, so I want to be able to carry, and of course not print, and be comfortable, and so these are some of the challenges, and there are others, like you said, we all have different body types, and so the challenges are going to vary according to how we're built, right? So,
and also your lifestyle,
exactly,
depending what it is that you do during your day and night.
Exactly. So I want to talk a little bit about, so again, Riverside County Gun Owners, we're a political action committee, and we're focused on, we're different in comparison to some of the more, well-known gun advocacy groups out there, Second Amendment advocacy groups. And we focus on local in city, municipal elections, making sure that we're supporting candidates who are, and politicians who are Second Amendment friendly. And so a lot of our work is political activism.
And that's where it starts, is local.
Exactly. Well, and it's such a brilliant idea that Michael Schwartz, our executive director down in San Diego County, came up with, because it's, we know that legislators and politicians, they didn't start, at the state level and, in DC, they almost always started at local level, you know, school
Hmm.
boards, a city council, and we all know, of course, elections have consequences.
Right.
We're seeing that now. There's such an attack on
Hmm.
Second Amendment, and that's why it's such a critical election year this year, 2020.
Right.
I'm particularly interested. I mean, I know you're an avid concealed carry fashionista. What's your can you talk a little bit about your 2A advocacy and how kind of, I know you're based out of Washington, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, have you done any work in that space or?
Not as much as I would like. I try to get involved, here because I'm in Washington, D.C. There are smaller organizations, there's maybe two that I can think of, that are Second Amendment advocacy groups that are probably more local, trying to, push the agenda of getting our legislators and getting the people in Congress, like, to understand, like, why we need to have the Second Amendment. But in terms of, like, on a national level, like, there's ones that I'm aware, but I'm not heavily involved in. Like, if they do come to DC, like, for instance, the DC Project,
Yeah.
I don't know if, like, Diana Muller runs that, and it's a great organization. They bring women in every year down to Congress and have women from each of the 50 states meet with their congressperson, and to kind of just talk about why it's important and why we need to have the Second Amendment. So that's a great group. The 1 year that I wanted to get involved, I just couldn't, like, I couldn't make it happen with my work schedule. And then I know that that's probably the main one that I think that gets a lot of attention and attraction for, like, coming into DC. And then just recently, the 2A rally, like, the first one was last year with, like, Rob Pincus. They had that first rally last year, and that was a great turnout. That was held right on the lawn of the Capitol.
Mhm.
So I attended that, and then they're trying to get that one going again this year. And they were going to have that at the front lawn again, but they ended up, like, literally, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, they just announced that it was going to end up being a virtual event.
Gotcha.
And I mean, that's kind of a bummer, because, like, we
Yeah.
were going to there's going to be way more people in DC for that event.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but now it'll have to be virtually. But, for me, like, I try to look at organizations that are going to support the Second Amendment, and then figure out ways that I can support in, like, the limited capacity that I have, just in terms of, like, balancing, like, my day job, STOMI Tactical, and other things like that. And I would love to be a lot more involved in that, but,
I
I
think
just have to kind of pick and choose, sort of.
I love that. I mean, your work is so important. I feel it's important, and I know a lot of women out there agree with me as well. You put out some great content. Can you tell our friends, followers, and members where they can find you?
Sure. So on social media, I'm just at STOMI Tactical, like, uh, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, like, all the normal social media channels. And then my blog is stomitactical.com. And then I recently just started a Facebook group. It's not even a month old, or I think it's a month old this week.
Oh, congratulations.
And it's called the STOMI community. We've got 240 members in that. It's a great group. I wanted to bring, I have a lot of conversations in DMs with a lot of women in my DMs through email,
Mhm.
and they always ask such great questions. And I'm like, I know that there's other women out there that can also answer these questions with a different point of view. So I was like, I want to create this Facebook group where I can kind of connect these women, because at the same time, there was also women asking me questions in terms of, hey, do you happen to know of any, trainers or ranges in X city? And I'm like, no, I don't, but I do have a friend on social that I know lives there. And so I was like, let me try to build something that they can kind of have these conversations as well, and get more women communicating and talking. So, there's concealed carry stuff we talk about. We have different posts like 3 times a week, just kind of talking about different lifestyle assets, beauty, cooking, personal safety, concealed carry, everything. We didn't want it to be just a concealed carry group. We really want it to be more of a community where you kind of just share different aspects of your life. So I'm pretty excited about that because it's only been a month old. We have 240 very active members, and I love reading their posts. So that's awesome. And then I haven't. It's on hold right now, but I have a podcast called Not Your Average Gun Girls that I host with Amy Robbins. We are on a break for like the past year because she just recently had a baby. So, it's just another thing to add to the plate.
Well, I love that. Thank you so much, Emily.
Of course.
For time with me
Thank
today.
you so much for having me. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we love it, and I'm cheering you on your journey, and I'm going to continue to follow you. I'm actually a member of that Facebook group that you said I just joined. I think it was last week. So
Nice.
I love the content, and it's a lot of great information, like you said, and I love that you're bridging the gaps and connecting women in this community. Because again, I think it's important. We need to be able to have a place to land.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So thank you again so
Oh,
much.
thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. You too.